My name is Kim Nichols.
My name is Allison.
It was 7 months old when she was actually formally diagnosed with CCHS.
Mostly one of my DNA strands, the part of it that's supposed to tell your brain to breathe, is dysfunctional.
When she was a baby, they did not have the genetic testing available. It was a lot of trial and error. Our pediatrician called us and said she's going in and I don't know when she's coming out. Allison was in an iron lung for a while. We've done the turtle shell that squeezes her. We did the nasal mask. As she got into school, the symptoms that Allie was describing were becoming more apparent, and it was a struggle to be in school. But we were able to catch her with the trach. Since you were born, we've used PHS.
PHS, they mostly make it easier for me to be able to get all the supplies I need to be able to go on without having to get medical troubles.
We're very lucky. We have very few issues, but when we've had them, they've been there to help us get through. And they're very, very, very nice and very flexible about helping us. We took the opportunity to maximize her physical development at a growth point, which was also an intellectual growth point. We did some educational testing, neuropsych testing before and after the trach, and the difference was amazing. 17 IQ point jump in 6 months just from having consistent oxygen.
I take science and math. I just started algebra. And I always take a writing class because I love to write. I would love to go to college. I want to major to be a vet. I want to do something with animals.
So she wants to go to college. We will make it happen.
Andy was our biggest surprise, actually. We basically had to start over and rebuild a medical team for him. He's mainstreamed almost entirely in school. He loves music. Andy is learning sign language, right? And you go to school, and you have an interpreter and a sign language teacher, right? Yeah, music. And what is it? Your sign? Yep. You want to sign? You sign your music. We got him now in an integrated school program. He's in choir, he's in band, he loves to drum. He signs, he learns all the music and he signs along, he loves that. But he also learned to sign the Star Spangled Banner. And actually at the Mall of America they had a contest one day. And he went, you remember? He went and signed the Star Spangled Banner to all the people at the Mall of America. He uses sign language. You have to have equipment that works and then alarms. Sometimes the equipment malfunctions. And then PHS will bring me a new one right away, which I know. And that's important. We're just glad everybody survives the day. I'll be honest with you. I'm just so delightedly happy when we all just are here at the end of the day. I got a phone call out of the blue from a woman named Lisa. And I answered the phone and she said, is this Suzanne Smith? And I said, yes. And she said, you don't know me. I got your name from a doctor. My daughter is dying. She's 2.5 months old. And I want you to adopt her. Ashlyn was born with Chard syndrome. They knew she was deaf. They knew she had vision impairments. Her intestines had malrotated, so she had lots of issues with feeding. She was not growing. She was very small. We went to Las Vegas and met them, and we worked with them to try and figure out what resources would be available in Nevada. The doctors were very clear in Nevada that they believed that she would not survive if she stayed there. They just didn't have the people. PHS was ready with whatever equipment she needed when she got here. The PHS nurses were unbelievably phenomenal about coming out and starting IVs. There were days when PHS had to come out every day to start an IV because if the IV would fail, she would need a new IV. There have been times in our lives when I've been frustrated and people will say, well, you chose this life. And I will say, I did not choose this life. I did not choose this life. The option is kids live in hospitals, which is not an option. Who would do that? Who would choose? Who would sentence someone to live in a hospital? Thankfully, PHS makes our life easier. If everybody ran as tight a ship as PHS, my life would be even easier. The quality of the care that the PHS staff provide is remarkable.
We have her. Labor was perfect, everything was fine, and we didn't know anything was wrong until she was 8 weeks old. She had a little bit of a cough, so I decided to bring her in just for a routine checkup. He took one look at her and was like, I think she has tetralogy of Fallot, I think she has DeGeorge. It's a deletion of your 22nd chromosome. Her immune system is about as equivalent to an adult with AIDS, and she spent the next 11 months in the hospital. Christmas 2 years ago, well, this coming Christmas will be 2 years, they'd actually given her 6 months to live. Well, after 11 months in the hospital, your mental stability as a parent obviously is out the window. So I just told the doctor that we're going home, and if we came back that night, then, you know, shame on us. But if we stayed home, then I have no regrets. And this coming Friday, in 2 days, we have been home for 1 year. So PHS is our equipment company, and they met with all the doctors to find out what all we needed for equipment. They spent a lot of hours and hard work trying to find us not only 1, but 2 ventilator T-birds. They brought everything out to our house, put it in boxes. 2 days later, they came back to do training.
They made sure that I was good, knew how to make sure that Emerson was safe.
Without PHS, we would definitely still be in the hospital. They've just been kind of an avid part of our daily life. And since then, we have taken her to a parade, we've gone fishing in a boat on a lake, she rode a horse, you know, anything that a normal, healthy child can do. There's just a little bit more baggage. I just want people to know that, you know, it is possible. It's not a death sentence, it just becomes your new normal. She wasn't giving up, so neither were we. Your kids, they deserve the best. It's those kind of things that they remember forever.
So she's just your normal 9-year-old little girl. You know, people that don't know her history would never think that she's gone through what she has gone through. I'm Janita McLean, and this is my daughter, Emily McLean. How old are you?
9.
She was born with a giant umphalocele. She was in the NICU at Children's for about 3.5 months, and then spent another almost 2.5 months in the ICU down here in Minneapolis. And we are from up north, so that was quite a challenge for us. It kind of tore our family apart. I was down here in the cities a lot, and my husband was home with him a lot. So we needed to get her home. And PHS just helped that happen. They met us at our house, had her bedroom all set up with the equipment that we would need. We were really worried about how the whole transition home was going to go. We were not familiar with, you know, obviously taking care of a child with a lot of medical needs, and then having the whole trach and being on the ventilator. It was scary. PHS just made the whole transition home just smooth. I've never had a worry. I've never been concerned about not having someone at the other end helping us coordinate what we needed. It's always been there. PHS has always been there for us.
Ella es Emily. A los 3 días la diagnosticaron con fibrosis quística. Hasta ahorita ya lleva 6 cirugías. PHS es el que me ha entrenado para poder tener sus cuidados, y pues que gracias a ellos estamos aquí con ella dando sus cuidados para que ella esté mejor.
I'm Doreen Kirsten, the RN that comes from PHS to see Emily weekly, and we do her weight and her assessments, and of course we're the backup 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for Mom when she has questions and concerns, and that has happened. Edith and I have talked at 1 and 2 in the morning, so.
Que yo tenga acerca de sus cuidados o de lo que ella necesite de suplementos, ellos son los que me proveen, acudo siempre a ellos. Las gracias a ustedes por tomarse el tiempo para ver a Emily, su caso de Emily. Estamos felices de tener a Emily también. Es una niña divertida y que todos la queremos.
My name is Shanna, and this is Ireland.
And I'm Ireland's grandmother, Carol.
When she was first born, they told us that she was having breathing problems. She was airlifted from Mankato to Children's of St. Paul. And at that time, they told us, that she was born without her esophagus being connected. She had her first surgery to try and connect the 2 ends. And then within just a few days, it completely tore apart and she ended up with a massive infection. She almost died. And so we finally, after I think she was in the hospital for almost 6 months, we got her home, thanks to PHS. You know, we first met PHS when they came to the NICU to show us how to use the feeding pump, which we didn't think we could do that. PHS, I've told people, I'm like, you guys are the one company that, I've never had any problems with. I found that we were really short on formula, but none of the nurses told me, and so right away Monday, I'm like, I need formula tomorrow. So they're like, okay, we'll get it out there, and we're 2 hours away from you guys.
Ireland has been able to be home. There have been a lot of times she wouldn't have been home if it hadn't been for that. And the services they provide. It's been wonderful. It's kept the family together. We know this is our new normal. That's what it is. Every moment is precious. She's taught me not to take anything for granted. Taught us a lot about patience, loving. Yeah, and she's taught the doctors a lot too.
When they think that something can't be done, she proves them wrong.
And she can throw kisses, can't you? Yeah.
Well, I'm Josh Bloom. That's my wife, Amber Bloom. That's our son, Jackson. Jackson was born at 23 weeks, 5 days, so very premature.
Everything seemed like we're getting everything set up to stay there for the rest of the pregnancy, and he decided that wasn't what he was doing. They were getting a medical staff over from Children's to take him immediately once he was born. Very, very scary, not really knowing what was going to happen, where, we knew that he was going to be about a 1 pound baby. You think having a baby, that's all you got to do is hold him and snuggle him, and we just watched ours lay in a little incubator. It was amazing getting to hold him for the first time.
All your, sadness or whatever is gone because you're so excited. I spent the first basically 9 months in the hospital, and since then we've been at home.
Probably a week to a week and a half before, they came with boxes and boxes and boxes of all this stuff that we were going to need, possibly need, maybe not even need, but just to be on top of things. And then the day that he came home from the hospital, they came to the hospital, brought us home, make sure we got home, made sure everything was set up, running in order.
Once you bring him home, it's just a completely different ballpark. It's a little bit overwhelming on how much stuff, you're responsible to having in your house.
Once a month, they're out here, sometimes more.
I'm Alyssa, and I am Jackson's respiratory therapist, and I come out once a month to do his equipment checks, and I do what is called an end-tidal CO2.
PHS rocks.
PHS rocks. We always know that they're there for us.
As crazy as it sounds, this is almost our norm, We've been so blessed with the services we've got and how well he's progressed. We look forward to no longer having the trach come the 26th of July.
He's our strength. If he's gonna fight, then we're gonna fight with him.
Yeah.
I'm Josie, and I'm 6 years old, and this is my mom and my dad and my brother. Hi.
4 years ago, she was diagnosed with a rather rare immune-mediated disease called dermatomyositis. Josie is on still a very long list of medications. She sees the doctor monthly, has every other week infusions, but through it all has remained very strong and spunky, right? She went to kindergarten last year and loved it, thrived in the classroom. Doreen actually went to school. Sign in, go in, and participate in the kindergarten curriculum, all the while taking Josie's vitals and making sure that the other kids didn't trip up on her tube and stuff. We have the utmost confidence in everything that Doreen does, and again, everybody at PHS, very professional.
These folks, they totally trained us. It was really something. I kind of documented how we all did it, and looking back on it and reading about what we did and how they prepared us to take care of a really, really sick kid is great. They did a fantastic job. All that support really made it much easier to transition from the hospital to home. And everybody appreciated it, especially Josie. She had fun. The kids, we were able to continue with all their activities and sports and whatever, and we were able to go back to work. And you know, it just, the transition was made far less extreme because of the support that we had, not only from our friends and family, but from PHS as well.
I'm Janice McKellips, Callie's mom.
And I'm Carol McKellips' grandma.
My water broke with Callie at 22 weeks, and it was pretty scary because obviously I was having a baby way too early, and I was told I didn't know if she'd make it. Her lungs just were not developing, so her whole body was overcompensating, and we got to the point where we were having to sedate her and paralyze her. We were kind of gave our options, and you know, the option of going to Houston for a lung transplant was an option, and then the other option was taking her home to put her on hospice till she died. So we got her to Texas after 8 months. We got the news that there was a set of lungs for her. It had to be someone of the same size as Callie, so it was someone else had to go through a loss that I thought I was going to have to be going through. If they could only see now what they've done for us, would just be, but yeah, words can't describe it. Then we finally got to bring her home. And she was about a year of age when we brought her home, and so that was her first time out of a hospital. Our doctors and the home care people, or the home discharge nurse there, had gotten in contact with PHS and worked from them down to them meeting us at the airport with the equipment we would need.
I am Katie Dahlberg. I'm a clinical specialist with PHS. I assist families in learning how to use their home medical equipment, support them in getting their children home and happy and healthy.
PHS offers anything that you would need to make sure your children stay safe and healthy and all their needs are met. Kids are just going to thrive in the home, and that you can do all the things you need to do to, you know, make them healthy and make them have great lives. It's worth it because they're pretty special kids and we're special parents to get them.
Callie just turned out to be a miracle.
She's the best, and I feel luckiest to be her mom.
And grandma.
Kevin came to live with us in 1992. We met him and his family, his biological family. Because of his chronic health condition and his need for 24-hour care, his mom was unable to bring him home. So there weren't a ton of kids like Kevin. You know, he required 24-hour care, lots of medical issues. He had 4 open heart surgeries when he came to live with us, and his prognosis was pretty grim. Because he was so sick and he was so fragile that he would have died in the hospital. And the doctors told us that if he has to be hospitalized, they won't be able to save him. He's too sick. They require truly intense care. They have one-on-one caregivers. If it's not their nurses, it's myself or my husband providing them with medical care 24 hours a day. Philosophically, PHS is different. They're just different. They look at kids and families in a different way than the other companies that we've dealt with. I think my kids are home because I have the confidence and the doctors have the confidence that we get what we need from PHS. PHS keeps these kids out of the hospital, and every day they're not in the hospital saves thousands of dollars. There were a lot of people who said, what is the point of him living? I mean, he can't see and he can't hear, look how sick he is. What's the point of this? And if you knew Kevin, and if you see his spark of life and the grace that he has and how much he loves living, you would never question him. He loves to live. I credit PHS in so many times in our lives with helping us keep Kevin home, safe, and therefore alive. And obviously, he's a joy for all of us.
You were 17 months old. Do you remember what happened?
I have cancer and I lost my kidney.
And you lost how many kidneys?
2.
2. But now you have how many kidneys?
1, and my mom had 1.
Yep. And who gave you the kidney?
Mama.
She had no symptoms. I mean, not a fever, not complaining of anything. Her daycare lady actually called us one day and said, have you seen that large bump on her tummy? They determined that they needed to get that kidney on there ASAP. And they re-diagnosed her with what they call rhabdomyolysis nephroblastoma, which only 14 kids in the world have had. And that's actually when PHS became part of our family. PHS was so willing to help us keep our work schedules, and the nurses would come out before we would go to work.
And they still do.
They still do, yep. Lexi is amazing with every medical thing that you would see her play with. She could do everything she needed to do by herself. I think she'll grow up to be a doctor. You look at her today and obviously you have no idea what she's been through.
This year, for the first time, she was able to see the fireworks on the 4th. The last two years, she's always been in bed sleeping because she's always hooked up at 7 o'clock.
For those 2.5 years, she wasn't outside at night. And you could just tell the awe, you know, of being outside and looking at the stars. It was amazing to her. If more people could go home and do the things they can do at home versus being in the hospital, knowing that the nurses from PHS are there to help and can help and are capable of taking care of your child as much as they are in the hospital, I think obviously the children will be a lot happier and us parents would be a little more at ease being at home.
Well, he was born, April 28th, 2001. We're coming on our 8th birthday, which is amazing.
Lovely.
He was born with Down syndrome. At 6 days old, he lost most of his large intestine. At 4 months old, he developed a volvulus. Intestine twisted off and became necrotic, which means it lost its blood supply and died. So they had to operate and take a large portion of his small intestine. The cares that you have to do are absolutely critical and vital to just his day-to-day well-being. Pediatrics Home Services is the absolute first one I'm communicating to, the discharge planners are communicating to, because I cannot come home without the types of medicine that they are going to supply for us.
She's your nurse? I think Lynn takes care of me.
Andrew just kind of came in and I said I was Lynn, and from that minute he knew my name.
Her coming every 2 weeks ensures that, you know, our labs are getting read, they're doing liver functions. So it ensures that we're taking a look and reading each lab result to make sure that he's still thriving and doing okay, and then tweaking nutrition as needed. He eats the same 3 meals every day. What do you eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? We start with
Tablespoon and goldfish and yogurt.
Yeah, gold
and ice water.
And ice water. So, and he's as excited about it after 7 years as you'd think you just served him a new exciting meal.
We all see Wizard, the wonderful Wizard was, because of the wonderful things he does. We all see the Wizard, the wonderful Wizard was.
You weren't supposed to live to eat, were you? You did! She needs suctioning throughout the day, and she gets tube fed throughout the day. The doctors gave us a really poor prognosis. Kind of take her home, love her. You know, it's the worst day of your life. But it's okay, Mom, isn't it? Yeah? It's okay. Didn't matter how many days we had her, we were going to give her the best life we could. We'd gone to the National SMA Conference, and that really helped us get some ideas of what other people around the country were doing. And we came back and we worked with PHS and we gradually started this routine. She's been very sick, and we've been able to keep her home as long as she doesn't get dehydrated. And that's where John said the nutrition piece comes a very big part in how we going to keep her hydrated while we're doing these treatments every 2 hours. Yeah, you know, PHS is on my auto speed dial. It is life-saving. We have a lot of equipment. Equipment goes bad, and the one thing I can say about PHS is they will bring it, they replace it. You're going home, what do you need? What equipment do you need? They'll meet us out here on the day of, if we're short on oxygen, if we're short on whatever we're short on. It's really a teamwork with PHS to keep things going in the home. Is it a coincidence we've been out of the hospital? I don't think so. If we didn't have this set up, we'd be in the hospital all the time, or she wouldn't be with us. We have a great life with Mary Kate. Our normal is different. Your normal becomes, this is our norm. She's taught us so much about just life and living, and it's not about keeping them alive, it's about giving them a really good quality of life. They said she had a 50-50 chance to live to 2, and the best prognosis they could give us was 3. So what are you going to be next month?
Yay!
Yes.
9 next month, so
9 years old.
9 years old.
If you look at Jovan, you will not know that he's had all these medical issues. He's a miracle child to me.
Jovan's very excited to have nursing in the home. He calls a lot of his nurses his girlfriends.
PHS having private duty nursing now, it makes it easy. Everything's coming from the same place.
I was so happy because I can have everything from the same company, and I know that they will take care of Jovan and me. I just love them. They're part of my family now.
The advantage for him being at home is he's able to thrive.
At home they get to be a typical 4-year-old running around, screaming, yelling, versus in the hospital where they're kind of have to be quiet, stay in one room, and they don't understand that a lot of times.
To be able to watch them grow and mature and stay healthy in their environment is pretty awesome. He'll be good as long as Jovan wants to be good, so things will go well.
Don't be afraid to bring your child home. Don't be afraid to encourage your child to live a normal life with whatever medical condition they have. What's your name? Can you spell it for him? T-A-N-A, Tana. And I'm Jill, Tana's mom. Tana was born back in 1996 with spina bifida. Yeah. She's just a kid that's full of joy. She absolutely loves life. She doesn't let a moment pass her by, do you?
They've been with us for a long time, and they've had more clinicians than just myself that have helped with Tana. I want them to feel comfortable knowing that I'm here, that I'm competent in my job, I know what I'm doing, and I'm here for them if they ever have questions.
Because of pediatric home service, we've been able to manage her at home. I see both sides. I can see it as a mom and a family member, and I can see it from the nursing side. There was an opening at PHS in the nursing department, so I thought, you know what, it would be a job I'd really love. So I applied and interviewed and came to have the job. I don't know another company like that out there that really does what we do. I am saying this from my heart. PHS saw a vision to bring the child home, to give the family an opportunity to become a normal family, and to allow all of the support that that family would need in order to do that. And because of that vision, a company that truly, truly, truly brings that child home, keeps that child home, takes care of that child, takes care of that family, and allows us to live a normal day-to-day life.
He wasn't supposed to live, so they told us after the G-tube was in place, they gave him 1 to 3 years.
Hello, I'm Tyler. When I was 100% sick, I was super sick and I was dying and dying and dying. So they needed to make the scar to help me live. That scar is not any scar. It's a health scar. It helps me, it gives me more health so I can live.
I was 22 weeks gestation when I found out that he had gastroschisis. Doctors told me that if out of all birth defects, this is the one you want him to have because it's so simple. They'll just take his intestines and inside and just sew him up and he'll be fine. They'll make him a little belly button. He'll be totally normal. No one told me there was a chance of anything else happening. So they ended up doing the ostomy takedown, which is they pieced pieces of good intestine together, literally centimeters.
The people, all the workers, they think that I was gonna die, but I didn't.
That's when we found out about PHS and the specialists and everything else. So people just have to say, no, it's not an option. Do something more.
PHS did more for us. I mean, PHS was there. They said, these are our options. This is what we can do for you. And so we took the path that we took, and we obviously chose the right path.
Yep.
So.
Riley was born prematurely, and he went into liver failure and had to have a liver transplant, and a lot of that caused some buildup in his stomach of fluids, which then compressed into his lung area and didn't allow his lungs to develop properly.
To live in intensive care units, one right after another, it's heartbreaking. He probably wouldn't have been able to come home if it wasn't for PHS. He'd probably still be there.
You know, being in their own home setting, away from the hospital, it's a huge difference as far as what the child needs to thrive.
When he got discharged, he was pretty much bedridden. But at home, he's able to sit in his boppy, do tummy time. He's a new baby. He's changed a lot in the last 2 months since we've been home.
We play with each other. The home is much funner.
And I'd just like to tell you that as a parent, PHS is your one-stop shop. It really is. We will take care of answering all those questions that you have no idea even what to ask. Because we are the experts in pediatrics here in the state of Minnesota.
It is very overwhelming for them to come home with a lot of the equipment and the supplies, and a lot of what we do is just educating them on using it correctly, giving them the confidence that they are the best caregivers for their child and that they can do it.
One of the biggest things is like when they come out and train, they actually, get your hands on working with it, and they set it up and then they take it apart and have you do it as well, and that's really helpful because, a lot of people learn that way, and it's just, you feel a lot more comfortable when you're hands on with it.
We're multidisciplinary, and not just in the sense of 1 or 2 disciplines, but respiratory and IV and nutrition and social work and asthma and our private duty nursing and billing and all those things. And we will go out of our way to take care of our patients and take care of their families.
They just make you feel really safe, and it makes you feel that everything will be okay and that never lose your hope or faith because your baby will come home. And there was a time where I didn't think he was ever coming home. I didn't know if he was ever going to make it. With PHS, you know that they're there to back